Okay, so as you're beginning just to set up, just a couple housekeeping things. First off, welcome to class. I'm Victoria. This is Plenty. And as you're getting ready for class, some things that may support you in your practice today may be a blanket. I love Mexican blankets or yoga blankets, sometimes they're called. A block. If you don't have a block, a book also can be helpful for some of the things that we may be able to get into today. Sometimes it's a little hard to see how much fun we can have, so we'll see. We'll see what we have time for. Water, of course, and I may not always cue a water break or a wipe your sweat off break. I'm always wiping my sweat off because I sweat very easily. So please take water breaks when you need it and other breaks whenever you need it to. So as we come into this practice, we come into this container of a space, we'll go ahead and we'll actually just meet in a seated position, nice and easy, nothing too formal right now. As we arrive into this space, the first thing that we'll do is we'll just notice the breath. We'll just start to notice the breath and start to observe certain qualities about this breath. So you may want to notice the length of it, the texture, the temperature. And so we'll just start to, again, we're starting to disconnect from whatever we were doing, thinking about managing before this class, or even what we have after class. And we're starting to, like, with intention, come into this container for ourselves. And so first we just notice our breath. And we notice our body. Notice the parts of our body that are making contact with the ground beneath us. One of my favorite prayers is from Lama Rod Owens. He prays a lot using Mother Earth, and he says in this prayer, "Precious Earth, let me lie upon you and remind me of my heart and body. I want many things, but need only this, to give up what I cannot hold to you." I'm gonna just say that one more time so that way it starts to like make a good imprint. Precious Earth, let me lie upon you and remind me of my heart and body. I want many things, but need only this, to give up what I cannot hold to you. As we come into this practice, may we consider this. May we consider moving for this next hour in that space. The space of giving up what we can't hold to Pachamama, to Mother Earth. If there is a intention that you have for today's practice, if you'd like to dedicate it in honor of someone or something, some movement, some feeling that you can't seem to shake, whether it be one that you want to amplify or one that you want to purify, go ahead and send those intentions up now. And lastly, I'll just add to whatever you have offered up. May all beings everywhere benefit from our practice today. May we first create in our minds this place of bliss, of heaven, and then may the world around us be a reflection of that heaven. That everyone can enjoy. On your next breath, we'll go ahead and meet in a standing position. And just a quick note, just in case you weren't here to hear this earlier, whenever you need a break, if you want to sit down and just meditate and, just be in this space, but be doing your own thing, no problem. Take water, take breaks whenever you need. Okay. So from a standing mountain pose, first thing that we're going to do is we're going to do something called a meridian slapping activation. So we're going to tap and slap our body. The first pathway, the first meridian is the stomach pathway. So we'll use our middle 3 fingers and we'll start to slap, gently, okay? We're more tapping, right? On our face. So we'll start to tap going down our cheeks, over our jaw, sides of our throat, over our collarbones, and then be careful around your chest or breast, might be pretty tender. And then once we reach the belly, go ahead and slap with a little bit of vigor. Your lower belly too, your upper thighs. All this pathway is the stomach pathway. Continue to slap going down the fronts of your shins, tops of your feet. Then squeeze your second big toe. Squeeze it, take a breath. That's where your stomach pathway ends. And then come all the way back up with a slap. The stomach meridian mantra is I am nourished. Every time we drink or we eat something, we're trying to nourish our body. We'll come all the way back up, and again, we'll end with gentle tapping on our face. We'll go back down. And then this time, we're going to slap using the palms of our hands. So palms of your hands. So the pathway starts beneath our eyes. It goes all the way down to our second big toe. Squeeze it. Take a breath when you're at the bottom. Come all the way back up. Again, stomach mantra is I am nourished. So think about these things. Contemplate. What might it feel like to feel nourished in your body? Lastly, we're going to tap back down our face. And then we're going to get little fists here. And we'll tap again. Just be careful around your chest or your breast. So little fists, you're knocking. You're knocking on your body. Go all the way down. All the way down. Squeeze your second big toe. And then using your fist, you're knocking all the way back up. All the way back up. Again, we're doing this as a way of waking up our prana, our chi, our passion and energy. And then come back to standing mountain pose for a moment. next pathway is our gallbladder pathway. So lift up as much as you can, and we're gonna start to tap. It runs along the sides of our bodies. So start to slap going alongside your body. The gallbladder meridian, you may wonder, why should I care about the gallbladder, Victoria? The reason is because the gallbladder regulates your breath and your emotions. Breath and your emotions. And if you're like me, as you're tapping along the sides of your body, they're probably pretty tender. All right, now we're gonna tap, same pathway, but tap using your palm of your hands. So we are physically manipulating, physically breaking up the energetic knots that exist in our body. And again, breath and emotions. Those are some pretty important things, right? Yep, that's why it's tender. It's tender because it needs attention. And then lastly, we'll get our fists and we'll do the same thing. The gallbladder mantras, this is what I want you to consider right now. The gallbladder mantras are, I forgive, I learn, and I grow. Go all the way down to the outsides of your ankles. Come all the way back up. I forgive, I learn, and I grow. Come all the way up as high as you can. Lastly, we're gonna trace the gallbladder mantra along your head. Okay, so we'll get our 2 peace fingers, and then we'll look we'll touch on the outsides of our eyes. And then run your fingers along to the tops of your ears. And then run them towards the center of your forehead, on top of your eyebrows. And then run them all the way up, over your skull, all the way over your skull. And then squeeze the base of your neck. Nice. We're gonna do about 2 more times because I think it feels so lovely. Okay, we'll start in the corner of the eyes and breathe while we're here. Run it to the tops of the ears, over towards the center of the forehead. Reach up all the way over. One last time. Francesca, this probably feels really good to you because you have such short hair too, so get it. All right, corner of your eyes. Deep breath. Run it on top of your ears, the center of your forehead. Reach it up and all the way over. Squeeze at the base of your neck. Beautiful job. One last pathway to slap and activate is our urinary bladder pathway. So it runs alongside our back body. So reach around and then slap as high as you can. It's a little awkward, but slap your back body. Then your bum, your hamstrings, the backs of your knees, backs of your calves, all the way down to the back of your heels. Come all the way back up. The back body mantra is I trust. Back body is the past. Front body is the future. This time we'll slap using the palm of our hand, just like we did with the other pathways. Come all the way down. Then that middle body, like actually where we are in the center, that's the present. So do we trust the past to stay in the past? Do we trust the past to not affect our present or our future? Lastly, we'll get our fists and we'll knock. And for any places that feel like extra tender, maybe like along like your sacrum here, feel free to give it a little bit extra knocking. I trust. And we consider these mantras not because, oh, we all the way 100% believe it, but because we want to believe it, because the wish is there. The wish is there. Lastly, we'll lift our arms up, bend your elbows, and then we'll slap alongside our upper backs. Our upper backs, if you feel tightness here, heaviness, this is where guilt and shame live, and they accumulate on top of your back. Set some of that free. Set some of that free. Take one breath here, inhale. Exhale, come back to standing mountain pose. And notice if you might feel a little bit more embodied, a little bit more connected here, even just through this tapping, through this slapping and remembering our pathways, why they're important, why we should care. And that tingling, that's our prana, our chi, our passion, our sex drive. It's all those things that light a fire. It's like chispa. It's this never-ending spark that's inside of us. Sometimes we gotta break it free. On your next breath, we'll go ahead and we're gonna come into the meridian pathway stretches. So from standing mountain pose, go ahead and send your arms out towards the side like a T, and your palms are flipped up, and then reach back with your thumbs. And you want to reach back as if you're trying to touch your thumbs to each other. Perfect, perfect, like you're trying to touch them. This is our lung pathway stretch. Our lung pathway begins in our thumbs. So the more that we reach back, the more we're stretching our lungs, lung pathway. Lungs deal with liberation, right? The lungs and the large intestine are connected. They both deal with elimination, right? You think about the large intestine, it helps you to physically eliminate. Well, breath gets eliminated through the lungs. And if we have a lot of sadness, they get collected there in the lungs. So as we stretch and we breathe, then we're saying, take from me all that is not free. We're saying that it's okay to let go. If while you're in these stretches you start to feel some tingling, just know that it's doing its work. Inhale here. As you exhale, release your left arm down towards the side. Flip your right palm over. Point with your right pointer finger. And then send it towards that back right corner, wherever you're practicing. Back right corner. Really reach with your pointer finger. Okay? So nice and active. Take your inhale. Take your chin over your left shoulder. Exhale. Drop your chin down towards your left shoulder. You should probably feel a pretty gnarly stretch. Again, if you're really reaching with your right pointer finger, then you'll probably feel it all the way from your right pointer finger all the way up. So in meridian pathway practice, we use three things: sensitivity, concentration, and breath. So use those three things. Put your concentration in your right pointer finger. And then use your breath. And we're gonna go over your right hand. So we're traveling here. Over your right forearm, your right elbow crease, your right bicep. We're still traveling. Go over your right shoulder, your right side of your neck. Go over your jaw, across your cheek, and then land on the outside of your left nostril. One last breath here as you really open up and stretch. Inhale. Exhale, release your right arm down. Nice job. Same thing, opposite side. Lift your left arm towards the left. Point with your left pointer finger. And then stick it towards that back left corner. Inhale here. Take your gaze, take your chin over your right shoulder. Drop your chin down towards your shoulder. And again, this is I don't think I mentioned it, sorry. This is the large intestine stretch. Large intestine pathway begins in your pointer finger. Again, sensitivity, concentration, and breath. Those are your three best gifts that you can give to yourself. not how flexible you are or any of those other things we tend to associate with yoga. All right, put your concentration in your left pointer finger and then use your breath and let it travel across your left hand, left wrist, left forearm, left elbow crease. Really reach with that pointer finger, left bicep, left shoulder, left side of your neck. Go across your jaw, across your face, across your cheek, and then land in the outside, right outside of your right nostril. One more big breath here. Inhale. Exhale, release your left arm down. Nice job. If these feel a little achy, just know that that's because we're not really used to typically doing these kind of movements. Okay, next stretch. Both arms out towards your side, again like a T, but then this time flip your palms up. You flip your palms up like you're trying to hold yourself up in an elevator. So much of this meridian stretch practice and meridian yoga practice is about moving prana, moving energy. And so we use our breath to move energy. And when the world is shitty, which is like, when is it not? Then we use our breath so that way we don't have energy and sadness and rage stuck in our body, because that doesn't serve anybody, least of all ourselves. So, and heartbreak and loss, and maybe it's personal or maybe it's universal, but we use our breath and our concentration, we use our limitless love that really we have in our hearts to move it through. That's what we're doing right here. This is the pericardium stretch. Pericardium is the protective sac over our heart. It manages love, joy, connection. It flaps open and shuts closed because we need both. Sometimes we need to be open, sometimes we need to shut it down. As you inhale here, imagine that you're just filling up the left side of your lungs. Inhale, inhale, just left side. As you exhale, press through your left wrist crease. That's where your pericardium pathway begins. As you inhale, imagine that you're just inhaling in the right side of your lungs. And then exhale and press through your right wrist crease. And we're just going to do one last breath right here, all the way together. Inhale, both sides of your lungs. Exhale as you press through both of your wrist creases, and then release your arms down. Nice job. On your next breath, circle your shoulders forward, up, back, and down, and then flip your palms forward to wherever you're facing, okay? So they should face me, essentially. And then we're gonna imagine that we're digging down using our ring fingers on both of our hands. This is our triple heater stretch. Triple heater is so important in traditional Chinese medicine, which is where these meridian practices originate from. Okay, triple heater is heart, lungs, and chest. Heart, lungs, and chest. We need this to be nice and strong. Inhale here. As you exhale, drop your chin down towards your sternum, and then slide your chin towards your left armpit, and then reach down some more with your right ring finger. Reach down like you're trying to scoop the earth. And at some point, your body will stop reaching. It's gonna be like, okay, that's enough stretch. That's enough. So find that place and breathe there. Our triple heater pathway is our protective energy. And we need strong protective energy. We need to know how to best take care of ourselves, the ones we love, and even the ones that we don't even know, but who still need protection. Inhale here. As you exhale, slide your chin back towards your sternum, back towards the center, and then opposite side. Slide your chin towards your right armpit, and then reach down a little bit more through your left ring finger. Again, like you're trying to draw the earth up. Inhale here, slide your chin towards your sternum, lift your head back up. Arms out towards the side, palms are facing forward, pinkies are down, and then bend your elbows a little bit. And as you do that, feel in the deepest part of both of your armpits. That's where our heart pathway starts. Our heart pathway is like digging all the way into your armpits. So as you bend your elbows and it kind of like almost kind of flexing your biceps a little bit, you'll feel it, which is pretty cool. Heart pathway, of course, we know what the heart is for: connection, joy, love, passion. And in Buddhist philosophy, which I think is really cool, is the mind is actually tucked inside of the heart. So it's not separate. I like to think that that's how our body works, that the mind is tucked into the heart, that they work in tandem. They don't work against each other. They educate each other. They involve each other. On your next breath, we will rotate the left arm down and rotate it in towards your body. And then we're going to reach your left arm back. I'm just going to give you my back for a minute and then reach it up. With your right arm, we'll lift it up, bend your elbow. So essentially you're trying to touch your hands together. But if you can't make it, then grab a hold of your shirt. Of course, if you have a strap, you feel free to use your strap. If this is not available, no problem. Just lift your right arm up, bend your elbow, and then reach with your left fingers, reach onto your right elbow. Okay, so the main important thing here is that your right armpit is open. Again, we're working with the heart pathway on the right because that's where the armpit, the center of the armpit is. And then the small intestine on the left, small intestine pathway begins beneath your, below your left shoulder blade. Whatever is back behind your head, press into it. So it's like a slight back bend, a slight heart opener here. Press into it and breathe. It's good to remind ourselves how beautiful our bodies are designed, that they're designed to work well. Our bodies are designed for health, for wholeness, for wellness. And sometimes we just need to remember these techniques. I love indigenous techniques. I love remembering how to keep myself well, but it's not outside of me, but it's inside. So as you're here, just press into whatever's back behind your head. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, we're just going to forward fold for one breath, okay? Forward fold. Take your time. Don't hurt yourself. Forward fold. One breath. Inhale, rise on up. And then we're going to unwind, do the same thing opposite side. So if you remember, our arms out to the side, a little bend, and then rotate your right arm internally towards your body. I usually have to like grab my arm. Left arm up, bend your elbow, and then reach for opposite hand. And even though it's the same arms, you will probably notice that it's not the same grip, right? And again, you can just grab a hold of your left elbow and draw it in, or not. Many of you know For some of you know at least that I have occipital neuralgia, so I'm still even though I had surgery, I'm still contending with a good amount of pain. And so I bring this up to say that I am always modifying in class. Always modifying. If I take a class, I'm doing it, but I'm kind of doing my own thing too. So I say that to say, please listen to your body and do your own thing when you need to. And maybe we'll just remind ourselves one more time how brilliantly designed our bodies are. They are sacred geometry in motion, holy and human at the same time. Take one more breath here. Press your head into whatever is back behind it. Inhale. Gently forward fold. Exhale. Inhale as you rise back up. Exhale as you unwind yourself and then give yourself a hug. Nice job. I'm going to take a little sip of water. Feel free, guys, to also take a sip or not. Once you're ready, we'll meet back in a standing pose. Inhale, send your arms up. As you exhale, we're gonna forward fold here and bend your knees so much that your chest touches your upper thighs. And then release your head. So you may feel like, well, I wanna keep my neck up so that way I see what I need to do. But if you can, just listen. And shake your head free. Shake your head no. Shake your head yes, because we need to know how to say both. And then actually shake your head I don't know, because that's also valid. No, yes, and maybe. If you remember, our back body mantra is I trust. So as you're in this forward fold, consider that notion, I trust. The back body contains fear. That's why if a dog gets really scared, they pee on themselves. Actually, sorry, not even just a dog, a human. If you get really, really scared, you pee on yourself. The reason is because the back body is urinary bladder pathway. And you're not trying to pee on yourself, of course, but you do because you're scared. So as we're in this forward fold, it's a reminder, and we're breathing. And I know, especially for women, it's a little hard sometimes. Maybe your breasts like block some of the airway. But as you're here, it's as if you're reminding your body that you are safe, that you are okay, that you can trust. And then if you can, grab a hold of your big toes using your peace fingers and then wrap it with your thumb. So you're still in the forward fold, but you're locking your big toes. So you wrap your peace fingers around your big toe, secure it with your thumb, and then hold on to that, so don't let go, but inhale as you lift up halfway, right? You're just kind of, it's not even halfway, but that's what they say. Lift up halfway. Inhale. As you exhale, draw your belly in, bend your elbows, and then forward fold again. Again, still your knees can be bent as much as you need. I always suggest to bend them as much as you can. Now, this toe lock, the reason why this toe lock is so beautiful is because you are remembering your circuitry. right? You're making contact with your body. If you find yourself really overwhelmed, anxious, worried, any of those things, forward fold. And even if your face doesn't touch your legs, the act of doing that helps to activate your parasympathetic nervous system. So breathe and trust. On your next breath, release your toes. Grab a hold of your waist, fingers in the front, thumbs in the back, and then rise all the way up. Nice job. Inhale, send your fingers up towards the sky. Exhale again, forward fold. This time, slide your hands underneath your feet. So perhaps, so it's like you're like walking on your foot. It's gonna, it's not gonna, what am I trying to say? Okay, maybe you can only slide like a finger, okay? Or maybe your whole hand can go underneath your foot and your feet, both of them. So see where you're at. See where you're at, and then press your feet into whatever's underneath them. And keep your hands right where they are, but inhale as you lift up. Again, you're not gonna go very far. Draw your belly back and forward fold, bend your elbows. We won't be here very long. One more big breath here. Inhale. Exhale as you release your hands from underneath your feet. Wrap your fingers around your waist. Fingers in the front, thumbs in the back. Rise all the way up. Nice job. We'll come to the top of your practice space, top of your practice mat, wherever you're at. Inhale. Fingers rise. Exhale as you forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step back to a plank, and then drop your knees. If you like, if you have a blanket, you can put your blanket underneath your knees. And then we're gonna lower down, knees, chest, chin. So knees come down, drop your chest, then drop your chin. Inhale as you lift up to up dog or cobra. So you're sending your chest through, shoulders are down, away from your ears. And then take your gaze both directions, to the left. Take it towards the right. Take it back center, and then press back into child's pose. Knees out towards the side. Press your bum back towards your feet. Release your forehead down towards the mat. And as we're here in child's pose, we consider give up, where we can make a little more space in our body? What worry, what memory takes up space, takes up work from us to hold up this identity, this reason to be mad, reason to be hurt? And we see if maybe we can allow some of that to seep from inside of us and to allow it to drip down into Mother Earth. And she can transmute it, she can transform it into something beautiful. Our pain can be made into beauty if we let it. On your next breath, take your time, but make your way to a seated position, something comfortable. Part of the meridian yoga therapy practice is acupressure, and acupressure is like acupuncture without the needles. Essentially, it's using your own hands, or maybe sometimes you use like a wooden stick or something. So we're gonna do some points, and just to help to complement what we're working on today. Okay. Lung 2 is called Cloud Gate. One of my favorite poses, points. Lung 2. Okay. So let's use our right hand. With our right hand, find your left collarbone, right? Find it, and then slide your fingers out towards where your collarbone and your shoulder meet. And when you do that, then you should find a little corner. In Spanish, I call it like a little rinconcito. So find your little rinconcito, your little corner. And just FYI, in acupressure practice, don't get hung up. Don't get too in your head about, well, is it this exact point or is it 1 centimeter over, okay? It's like it's an intuitive practice, and you begin to see with your hands. Okay, so again, you may even want to start over, right? And just make sure. Okay, so slide your fingers along your collarbone, and then once you reach towards like your shoulder bone, then there's a little divot, a little dip in there. And I like to find it with my pointer finger, but then I like to slide my thumb on top of it. So again, use your fingers, slide it over your collarbone, and then once you reach like your shoulder bone, then there's a little rinconcito, a little corner, find it, and then press into it. I like to use my thumb, especially because I like to wrap my other fingers around my arm. Okay, so again, don't get hung up as to, is this the exact right point? Okay, just find a point, and you can press into it, you can make circles, you can like pulsate in it. Okay, see what you need, And just because you do it harder doesn't mean you're going to get healed faster. Okay. It's not like, oh, I'm going to use my muscle. No, it doesn't work that way. Sometimes you have to be gentle. So, okay, this is lung 2 called cloud gate. And if you can, close your eyes and we'll explore what this point is about. As we mentioned earlier, the lungs are about sadness, liberation, death, letting go. It's like there's birth and there's death both in our lungs. There's beginnings and endings. And what happens is, God willing, we live long, beautiful lives, but that means that we also go through things. And so then what happens is that sadness gets stuck in our chest. It gets stuck around our lungs, around our heart. And so cloud gate is literally imagining in your mind that you are removing the clouds from your lungs. Because we're not the clouds. The clouds are the feelings. The clouds are the things that happen, that things that come, the things that go. We are the sky. We are the blue. So as you press here in lung 2 and cloud gate, imagine using your breath, your concentration, and your sensitivity to allow some of the clouds to dissipate. Even if they don't go away, they don't have to go away, but they don't need to be so tightly clustered together to where we can't see our own reflection. We need to be able to see us, to feel us, to see the sun, to feel its warmth. And on your next breath, go ahead and release whatever hand that you're using to press. Release that down onto your lap. And then we'll do the same thing opposite side. So again, we run our fingers alongside our collarbone. And we find that place where the collarbone and the shoulder bone meet. And there's a little corner. So find it. Again, see what finger feels best in it. I like to use my thumb because I like to wrap my fingers around my shoulders and then breathe into it. And we work on the clouds some more. And we know why they're there. We know the things that we have been through. And we thank them for coming. And we also tell them that they don't have to stay anymore. That we don't need to carry that heaviness with us for the end of our days. That we want to feel the sun. That we want to feel our blue. One last really good, nice deep breath. Inhale. Exhale as you release that hand onto your lap. one last acupressure point that I'd like to do today, which is also my favorite point. All right, I have too many, but it's one of my favorite points. It's called stomach 12. The way you find it is you round your shoulders forward and then get your fingers. Hopefully you don't have super long fingernails. If you do, use your finger pads, not your nails. Okay, round your shoulders forward. Find your collarbone again, and then stick your fingers back behind your collarbone. And again, like you'll probably have to like round a little more. Find that. Okay, perfect. And then we'll return your shoulders back to normal. And then we'll sit up. And still keep your fingers in that ditch. Okay, it's like a ditch behind your collarbone. This is stomach 12. And if you can, again, close your eyes. That way we are less in our heads about what we're doing or how we look. And stomach 12 is a crucial point on the stomach pathway. If you're like me, whenever I get sad or stressed, I immediately get a belly ache. And that's because that's where most of my pain settles in. It settles in my stomach. And this point here is like a clearing. So it's like we have this pathway. It begins beneath our eyes. It goes all the way down the front of our body, and it lands in our second big toe, like we did. And we have all this accumulation. There's called granthis, which is energetic knots. We have all these energetic knots from life and loss. And what happens is that it clogs up, it blocks our pathway, and it protects us from bad, but it also protects us from good. So as we're here in stomach 12, see if you can use your breath and just to imagine that you're on this pathway, you're on this road, and with your breath, you're starting to clear out. Or with your breath, you're starting to get your little chisel out and starting to kind of, knock some of those knots down. I imagine them like rocks or like boulders. That's how they look in my mind. And with my little tool, I'm just taking a little crack at them and letting them turn into dust, and then letting them, with my breath, start to fade away outside of my pathway. So I can be in my true nature, which is to love and to protect and to want to care about everybody. And those knots, they block that, and I don't want that. I know you don't want it either. So press here. Your fingers, your arms may be getting a little tired, but they'll get stronger the more you practice acupressure. And again, we do this because our bodies are meant to be well. And these are indigenous techniques that show us how to remember how to be well. Take 3 more breaths here and make them like your best, most concentrated breaths. Where you see some movement, you see some clearing, and you make some space. And at the end of your 3rd breath, gently release your hands onto your lap. and see what that feels like. You might feel a rushing coming down your fingers. It might just be like a slow little trickle. But notice the release. Use your sensitivity to notice. And if you can, still keep your eyes closed, but make your way onto your back. I come into a short Shavasana practice, or short Shavasana, to end our practice. That Shavasana is corpse pose. It may sound a little dark, but all it means is that we are not the same as when we first stepped upon our mats an hour ago. All it means is that we have a new beginning, in which I'm all about my new beginnings. I like to be a different person every day. I'm not yesterday's Vicky. That's crazy. Okay, so make yourself comfortable on your back. Sometimes that may mean that you put a blanket behind your head or beneath your knees. But let this pose right here, like this moment, let it feel like coming home. Let it feel like you waiting on the other side of the door to welcome yourself back to yourself. And they might say, I've missed you. It's been so long. Thank you for remembering me. So we'll have a minute or two of silence, and during this silence, we're letting everything that we did, everything, how we stretched, how we breathed, how we moved, what we brought our minds to, we're letting it all accumulate and take hold. And in case you start to think about something else, it's okay. Don't beat yourself up, but just come back. Come back to the feeling of home. And on your next breath, start to draw your awareness back into the room as you gently bring some movement back into your body. Wiggle your toes and your fingers. Deepen your breath. And still with your eyes closed, make your way over to your right side. Come into fetal position. Draw your knees in towards your chest tightly. Rest your head on your right bicep. And we come into fetal position as a way of embodying a new beginning, our new selves, closer to home, closer to our original face. And then take your time as you gently make yourself come into a seated position, still with your eyes closed if you can. And circle sweep your fingers all the way around you. One last chance to gather up all that good juju, all that goodness that we made. As you exhale, draw your thumbs towards your third eye. May we think kind thoughts. Send your thumbs towards your lips. May we speak goodness into ourselves and others. Send your thumbs towards your heart. May we remember our infinite capacity for love and for compassion. And may we learn to treat one another better. Thank you for letting me lead you through your practice this morning. All that is in me loves and honors all that is in you. Namaste. Thank you guys. I'm going to stop the recording. Stop it.